Factor theorem. Shortcut. Example 1. X cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. Okay, we want to factor this polynomial. Let's say this polynomial is the variable is x, polynomial x. So factor theorem. The factor theorem tells us if we replace x by a number, and if the result is 0, then we have the factor. Let's try to replace x by a number. The trick, the shortcut is this. You use 1 to start with. So replace x by 1. So my polynomial 1 is, if you replace x by 1, this is just 1. And this is 1 squared is 1, so minus 5. And this is 1, 1, so this is 2. And this is 8. So what is this? What is the value of this? So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 8. Let's see. Negative 4, 6. So it's 2 then. Negative 2, negative 2. No, this is negative 4, negative 2, negative 2 is it's not 8, it's 6. Okay. So this is not 0. Therefore, x minus 1 is not a factor. But usually we do not do this. We use a calculator. Okay. Use a calculator. And we do not even need to write down the numbers. Look at the polynomial first. When you put 1 here, it's 1. So it's 1 minus 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 8 plus 8. Press equal sign. This is 6. So you have it using calculator. You don't need to do it. You don't need to write it down and do it. Just use a calculator. So x minus 1 is not a factor. Then the next one to try is negative 1. Again, you do not write it down. You don't need to write it down and do the calculation using mental arithmetics. You don't need to do that. Use a calculator. Okay. You put negative 1 here. This is cubed, so this becomes negative 1. So I have negative 1. And this square, so negative 1 doesn't matter. It's still 1, so it's minus 5. And this is negative 1, so it's negative 2. And plus 8. It is equal to 0. So I have it. So x plus 1 is a factor. You got it? So try the simplest number, 1 and negative 1. Okay. Next example. Oh, back to this one. I'm not going to continue because once you have the factor, you use division, right? Do you use long division or synthetic division? Of course it's synthetic division because it's a binomial here. This factor is a binomial, so you use synthetic division, and the result will give you a quadratic function. A quadratic function is easier to factorize, so I'm not going to continue that. Yeah. I'm going to show you when it is not a quadratic form polynomial, then how do I use the factor theorem to get the factors. That's what I'm going to show you. So the next example. Excess form. X cubed plus 5x squared minus 2x and minus 24. Again, you try 1. So this is a polynomial, x. So you try 1. So use a calculator. 1 plus 5 minus 2 minus 24. You just use whatever the coefficients here and do the calculation. So it is 1 plus 5 minus 2 minus 24. So what is it? Minus 20. So the next one is to try negative 1. If when you try negative 1, this cubic term will become negative. This becomes negative. Therefore, it's negative 1 plus 5. Remember, this becomes negative, so it's plus 2 and minus 24. What is this equal to? Negative 18. You see, the number approaches 0. I want 0, you see? So I continue, negative 2 then. And I hope this continue approaches 0. I hope this will become 0. But I don't know. I need to try. I need to use a calculator. So negative 2. Again, negative 2 is not a big number. Here, the coefficients are not big, so you don't need to write it down. Do it in your head. Negative 2 goes to power 3. It's negative 8. Okay, so negative 8. What is this? 2 squared is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. It's plus 20. Plus 20. 2 here, but it's negative, so it's plus 2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4, plus 4, and minus 24, minus 24. So what is it? Negative 8. Good. You see the number approaches 0. And I want to see what number it approaches 0. So try negative 3. 3 to the power 3 is 27, but it's negative. So it's negative 27. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 5, 45. Plus 45. 3 here is 6, but it's negative here, so it's positive 6. And minus 24. Equals 0. So x plus 3 is a factor. Once you have the factor, you do synthetic division and you get a quadratic function. And the quadratic function is quite easy to factor. So we solve this problem. All right? Next example. 5x cubed plus 7x squared minus 8x minus 4. And this is a polynomial in x. Okay, you try 1, -1, and so on. Okay, let's try one. Polynomial, put 1 into the x. So, as you know, as you already learned, put 1 into it is quite easy. Just adding all the coefficients there. So it is 5 plus 7 minus 8 minus 4 equals 0. Therefore, x minus 1 is a factor. Then the next step is to do the synthetic division to get a quadratic polynomial, and then it's quite easy to factor a quadratic function, right? Okay, there is one comment on this. One of my students said, I cannot do the synthetic division because there is a 5 here. I can only do synthetic division when this is 1. That is not true. That is not true. If you divide by a binomial, you can always use synthetic division. Okay? Don't have that idea that if you have a 5 or other than 1, you cannot do synthetic division. You must do long division. That is wrong. You can do synthetic division. Okay. So next example. Polynomial x is x cubed plus 9x squared plus 26x plus 24. Okay, you try 1. But look at this polynomial. Everything is positive. If you put 1 here, every term is positive. So positive term plus positive terms, the result is positive. It's never negative. So for this kind of polynomial, if everything is positive, you don't try positive numbers, you try negative numbers. Therefore, you try -1. Okay, use calculator. -1 here, cancel everything. -1 plus 9. Remember, this is negative, so -26 plus 24 equals 6. Okay, let's see now. Yeah, okay, -1 is 6. Then we try, because I have to try negative number. I cannot try positive number. So the next number to try, keep it small, so it's -2. Use calculator. 2 cubed is 8. It's -8. So -8 plus 2 squared is 4, is 36. Plus 36. Remember, it's negative. 26, 2 times 26 is 52. So minus 52. Minus 52. Plus 24. Plus 24 equals, you get 0 now. Therefore, x plus 2 is a factor. So as before, once you have one factor, use synthetic division and you get a quadratic function, which should be quite easy to factor. Next example. Two x power 4 plus 13x cubed plus 28x squared plus 23x plus 6. Polynomial in x. What number do I put in? Everything is positive. So I cannot put in positive number. I must choose negative number to try. So let's try negative 1. Okay, polynomial, put negative 1 into it. Okay. This is even power, so negative 1 doesn't affect, it's still 2. 2, then minus 13 plus 28 minus 23 plus 6 equals 0. Therefore, x plus 1 is a fact. So this is how you use factor theorem. You start with the smallest number, 1 and negative 1, and use a calculator to get your results. If the result is not 0, then you increase the number a little bit at a time until you get a negative, until you get a 0. Do you get it? So you are not trying to randomly put the numbers in. You start with 1 and negative 1. That's it for the factor theorem. And I hope you know how to do it very quickly. So this is YC tutoring for mathematics and physics. Call this number, give me your question, and I will answer that question in my YouTube channel, which is called YC Tutoring. Thank you for watching. See you next time.